Coming up, construction updates for Interstate 80.
A day of action, why thousands of protests popped up across the nation.
The Iowa football team tames the Penn State Nittany Lions in a strong home victory.
Prepare for the unexpected. All of your full forecast coming up.
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. It is Monday, October 20th. I'm Jake Rios.
And I'm Morgan Burhans.
And the third member of our team, Avery Evans, is live outside at the Pentecost to tell us today's weather story. Avery, what are we going to feel outside today?
Thanks, guys. And these next few days might be a whirlwind. I'm currently standing outside the Pentecost where it is a lovely 45 degrees. Taking a look at the Pentecost cam, we can see today looks to be a lovely high in the 70s and a low in the upper 40s. However, make sure to bring out those sweaters tomorrow, as the high will be in the upper 60s with a low in the high 30s. I know fall is supposed to be colder, but I wasn't expecting this sudden drop in temperatures. For now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Another day for the history books. Over 2,500 No Kings protests were held across the nation Saturday for the second time this year. Organizers were saying it was one of the largest single-day protests in American history. DITV's news director Kayla Smith and reporter Kebedi Mutumba have more on what the protests looked like in D.C. and our very own Iowa City.
A country with a democracy with protests against monarchies.
Stand up! Stand up!
It's known as the No Kings movement, and it's a response to the Trump administration and what some view as an escalation of executive power.
But we are really here truly to say enough is enough, and no kings, and no dictators, and no fascism, and this has got to stop.
Saturday saw millions of people across the nation taking to the streets in No Kings protests, united in frustration to Trump's most recent policies, like National Guard deployments and immigration detainments.
He's controlling the military that I was in. I would never want to draft Dodger as my commander-in-chief.
This is the second wave of protests organized by No Kings, this time with an even bigger turnout. Organizers estimate around 7 million people raised their voices across the nation in around 2,600 events. In our nation's capital, things started early at the Franklin D. Reeves Municipal Center on the north end of Washington, D.C.
Better being here than like my little towns in Pennsylvania, even though that's great too. It's great to be with so many more people.
To kick off the day of protest, several members of the local community spoke their frustrations to a passionate crowd about how the Trump administration is impacting their city and the nation.
This administration is out here trying to strip people of their civil liberties. This administration is out here trying to round up anybody that is a dissenting voice. And that's why we're out here today. Because the United States of America is not run by a tyrant.
It was an opportunity to get ready for the main event, the walk across the National Mall, where this group of around 1,000 individuals would join 200 other thousand in the cause. And the group was ready. After speakers and chants, they walked an hour from the north end of D.C. down to the National Mall, making sure every single main street, side street, and household could hear their voices.
What is the most beautiful thing in the universe? Unity. It's a pop quiz, y'all. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And as I said before, this is a nationwide protest with thousands taking place all across the nation. And while we may have started right here in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C., there's also some happening back home in Iowa City. So let's go ahead and check in with DITV's Kebedi Mutumba with how things are shaping up in downtown.
Kayla, this protest might not be as big as the one in Washington, but there's got to be hundreds, if not at least 8,000 people here. I just got back from following the protesters as they marched 30 minutes ago, and they're still coming down Gilbert Street.
Organizers across the country knew there would be more people at the second No Kings protest, but for the lead organizer of the Iowa City protest, seeing it all come together felt crazy.
Like a week ago, I was looking and like, oh, there's 120 people on the thing. So, and then today I looked at it and it was over 2,000. And it's crazy how many people showed up.
They showed up to chant, sing, and sway while letting out their frustration with the current administration. The morning started out on the Pentacrest with various elected officials and community members speaking. Then they took to the streets. Many protesters said they were reminded of past protest movements. Decorah resident Lynn White says she was reminded of the people in her family who fought before her.
They fought Hitler and fascism. Now it's my turn. I'm here for them.
Fascism, free healthcare, these are just a few of the things that protesters say were on their minds. That and the potential for trouble. But things turned out to be pretty quiet.
It's peaceful. It's a lot better than what the internet is saying.
There's been nothing but great energy out here and positivity.
With the number of people that attended these protests both in Iowa and across the country, that energy, good or bad, definitely hasn't gone unnoticed. At the University of Iowa Pentacrest, Kabili Mutamba, DITV.
This land is my land, from California to New York.
Federal shutdown is impacting SNAP benefits. SNAP benefits are a program that gives low-income families accessibility to healthy foods. Iowa Health and Human Services has warned SNAP benefits that November benefits may not be granted. Iowa SNAP serves approximately 131,000 households a month and issues $45 million in benefits. When the federal shutdown ends, Iowa will work to restore all SNAP cards. Community food banks and pantry partners are prepared to help impacted Iowans.
Major lane changes in Iowa City are opening later this week.
DITV's Karch Smith is live at the Iowa Department of Transportation with the full story. Karch, can you tell us more about this project?
Yes, guys, starting on October 21st, drivers heading westbound on I-80 will have access to new lanes. After 3 years of work, the interstate will be expanded from 4 to 6 lanes. This expansion is a part of the I-80 widening project that is also being worked on in the Des Moines and Council Bluffs areas. The Department of Transportation wrote that there is erosion control and landscaping work slated for 2026, and there is still median and barrier work to be done by November. These lane changes are deemed as critical for the area and are projected to raise the housing market by 11%. Jake, Morgan, back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Karch. From New York to Iowa City, an Iowa alumni has come back from the big city. DITV's Grace Lathrop has the full story.
Career in the entertainment industry. One of his first stops was at the KRUI studio, where Liederman used to work when he was a student at the university. He created a set list and was able to participate in a 1-hour time block on air, speaking about his favorite moments at KRUI and his experience as a musician himself. Later in the evening, Liederman spoke at the IMU to students interested in working in the entertainment industry. The speech started with him being awarded the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Distinguished Alumni Award presented by the Dean. At the end of his speech, he left students with a very important piece of advice: to always anticipate need.
Anticipating need, coming up with systems to make people above you, especially to make their lives easier, to come up with systems. You will always work. You will always be valued.
After, students were then able to ask him questions to help them with their future plans.
Primarily right now I'm looking at moving to Chicago to pursue my passion. Would you recommend Chicago more so than those other cities?
Liederman paid a visit to DITV studios the next day to talk more about seizing every moment and saying yes to every opportunity.
When the opportunity comes, though, you can't be like, well, it's like, nope, how are you gonna, you're gonna take it, and how are you gonna, like, produce your own logistics to be able to take it and make it work?
Finally, he left us with the reminders of the ups and downs of choosing this particular career path.
If you choose to do this for a living, it is a forever no security and stability, and no one owes you anything. I just think understanding what it is really essential for young people to grasp.
Liederman continues to make the Hawkeye community proud through his hard work and dedication. Grace Lathrop, DITV, Arts and Culture.
Johnson County Jail approves 120 beds for the new jail. They have been debating this decision for the past 2 years, with many questioning how many beds would be appropriate. There has been past issues of not having enough space, which led to the debate of increasing the 92 beds. They came to the conclusion to build a new jail to have more space safely for inmates.
Iowa is bringing in a lot less money than expected this year.
DITV's Julia Rhodes is in the newsroom to tell us about how it's starting to cause some concern at the Capitol.
Yeah, guys, a new state report shows that tax revenue is down by about 9%, which is nearly double what officials predicted last spring. The drop comes from both state tax cuts and new federal tax changes that Iowa adopted. That means the state will spend about $1.3 billion more than it takes in this year, and will have to dip into its $6 billion savings fund to make up the difference. Governor Kim Reynolds says that this was part of the plan and that Iowa's finances are still strong, but Democrats argue that the state is in a downward spiral. Experts say that things could even out by 2027, but for now, Iowa's economy is still pretty uncertain. Back to you guys in the studio.
Classic Romeo and Juliet took a twist. We all know how the story ends, or do we? DITV's Liz Schultz shows us how this performance stood out from the usual.
O Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? But it's not your typical Shakespeare story. This Romeo and Juliet brings chaos and modern drama front and center.
My interpretation of Romeo and Juliet is really striving to be, to cut out the parts of it that are not needed in a modern contemporary world.
The show mixes modern slang and humor with Shakespeare's tragedy. And for the actors, that intensity hits close to home.
Something I noticed in Juliet is she's really smart. She knows who she is and she has really, really strong feelings. And I think that it's just so beautiful to see someone human unfold on stage.
From intense music to colorful set changes, the team does everything to keep the audience on edge.
It's not just the psychological based acting we see in movies. It's incorporating design and stage and imagery and magic.
The story still ends in heartbreak, just not the one audiences expect.
I'd go to my wedding bed and let death not Romeo take me there!
Juliet takes the poison and Romeo can't live without her. But when she wakes up and realizes he's gone, she chooses to end it again. And it certainly wasn't the take that audience members, including myself, were expecting on this classic. Romeo. From the theater building, Liz Schultz, DITV Arts and Culture.
And coming up later, updates on Iowa football's close win over Penn State, Iowa field hockey's overtime victory, and our top 5 plays from the weekend. All that and more coming up right after the break.
Stories occur every day, and here at DITV, we've got you covered with up-to-date news and politics.
We are anxiously waiting for those votes for not only the national election, but here in District 1.
Community members protest and stand for science. Keeping highlights and scores with Hawkeye Sports.
Advancing to the quarterfinals, Iowa looks to boost their overall placement and their way into the semis.
It's Iowa's second road win of the season, first since September 21st.
And of course, all the latest in entertainment.
Sit back, relax, and here's the word on the street. I'm here at the Alan McVeigh Theater, where a unique performance.
Here at DITV, we've got a crew bringing you all the stories from across the nation and right here in your backyard.
From the Iowa State Fair.
In Nashville, Tennessee.
From downtown Iowa City.
From Carver Hawkeye Arena.
And bringing all the coverage straight to you live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. Around the University of Iowa and Iowa City community, we have the stories that matter to you here at DITV.
Welcome back this morning to DITV.
But first, let's take a look back outside with Avery for the forecast for the week ahead.
Thanks, guys. And I know I'm going to make sure to check the weather before getting dressed this week because the unexpected is to be expected. Looking back out on the Pentacrest, we can see that Wednesday we're looking at a high in the 50s with a low in the 30s. Thursday we can expect sun and a high in the 60s. Friday seems to be warmer with a high in the mid-60s and some sun. And Saturday seems to stay similar with partly sunny skies. Lastly, Sunday looks like the hottest day with a high in the mid-60s and a low around the 50s. I know I'm excited to wear some sweaters this week, but I hope it doesn't get too cold because I am looking to having a picnic with some friends this weekend. For now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Gosh, a DITV staff-wide picnic would be so much fun.
Tell me about it. I would love a picnic, and maybe, you know, I'd also love to watch some sports in there as well. Cole, what about you?
Absolutely. Sports, one of my favorite things in the entire universe, guys. And the final night game of Iowa's season took place Saturday night in Kinnick Stadium when the struggling Penn State Nittany Lions came to town to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. DITV's Ryan Paris and Nick Isles have full coverage from Iowa's thrilling victory.
3 weeks ago, the Iowa Hawkeyes were looking forward to hosting the number 3 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions in one of the biggest games at Kinnick Stadium in the past few years. But it's funny how things can change in a matter of weeks, with Penn State now down their starting quarterback, head coach, and reeling from losses to lesser competition. What started as a trap game for Penn State quickly turned into a trap game for Iowa. And right from the start, it looked like the Hawkeyes were going to fall into that trap. It was deja vu from the Indiana game a few weeks back as Mark Gronowski was intercepted on the 3rd play of the game. The Nittany Lions quickly converted into 6 points on a Katron Allen touchdown on 4th and goal.
Again, you got to fight through discouragement and disappointment, because we all felt it during the game. There were times where it's like, man.
But just like the Indiana game, the Hawks then got their feet under them and marched deep into Penn State territory before settling for 3. Late in the second quarter, Penn State looked like they were finally going to break the deadlock until...
It was just a play that you make in practice. You get the opportunity in the game. You just got to go get the ball. You got to be a football player.
And although Iowa couldn't make good on Deshaun Lee's ridiculous catch, after punting, Xavier Wonka stepped in. Suddenly, after a Mark Gronowski sneak for a touchdown, the Hawks found themselves back in front. That wouldn't stay the case for long, as Drew Stevens' kick at the end of the second quarter was blocked, and with a perfect bounce, fell into the hands of Elliott Washington II, who returned it to the house as time expired. In the second half, Penn State leaned on Katron Allen to break through with an opening drive touchdown, putting Iowa down 11.
Iowa didn't do too much of this today, but they did have 245 rushing yards on the game, a complete performance between the running backs and quarterback, Mark Gronowski.
It started with a touchdown run that brought the Hawks back within 1 possession. Still into the final few minutes, Iowa trailed by 5, and Gronowski once again played hero, breaking free on a read option and running 67 yards inside the Penn State 10 before he ran out of gas.
I told these guys pre-drive that we were going to take it one play at a time. We don't need to get it all in one play, and it turns out we kind of did.
But the message was sent. Iowa was going to take the lead, and it happened a few plays later when Caden Weechin slipped through some tackles to put the Hawks in front.
You know, I'm kind of jealous of Weech. I wish I was that fast. So to see someone, you know, like it'd be fun to be that fast. So I'm just really happy for him that he's got that ability to run like that.
Now just needing one stop as Mo Bamba rang out from the Kinnick speakers. Ethan Grunkelmeyer's last gasp, 4th down pass was broken up by Deshaun Lee, and the Hawks closed out a statement season-defining win.
That's all it takes for everything to change in college football, and for Penn State, it has. With James Franklin's firing and Drew Aller's season-ending injury, interim head coach Terry Smith turned to Ethan Grunkelmeyer to lead the Nittany Lions into Kinnick Stadium. But Grunkelmeyer's introduction to the life of a starting quarterback quickly turned into a nightmare thanks to the Iowa secondary. The Hawkeye defensive backs were all over the field. Cohen Entringer led the team in tackles with a career-high 11 total. Deshaun Lee got the turnover party started with a diving interception halfway through the second quarter, that grab being his first interception of the season.
And I just want to, you know, give my all for my team. In any moment, no matter the circumstances, no matter the situation. So, yeah, I'm just grateful for that.
He's focused on the right stuff, and it showed up tonight, you know, and, that interception, I mean, holy smokes, that's pretty good. So, you like seeing that. It's gratifying to see a guy who's got a great attitude, great work ethic, get rewarded for that. Yeah.
Xavier Nwamka made a statement under the lights, too. His first pick since 2023 led into a touchdown. He tied his career high with 10 tackles and forced a fumble in the 4th quarter, marking the first of his career. The Hawkeye defense kept Penn State on its heels with a late 4th and 1 stop and 6 tackles for losses, giving the offense opportunities to make big plays.
So I feel like we're playing a great complementary football, and both sides of the ball are playing with a ton of confidence, which makes it a lot of fun for us.
Despite the hostile conditions, the Nittany Lions kept the score close and had a chance to steal the game on their last drive. With a minute left in the game, Deshaun Lee made the decisive catch to ultimately win the game for the Hawkeyes. The moment Kinnick Stadium erupted, and a statement game for Lee. The junior defensive back credited his teammates and coaches for his special moment.
Man, it feels so good, you know, just knowing you got your whole team just believing in you no matter what. Just showing up every single day. You got guys like Cohen, Lubner, TJ, Xavier. Like, you got those type of guys pushing you every single day. And just having those guys believing in me, that just means a lot to me.
A tremendous moment recognized by all in attendance. From Kinnick Stadium, Nick Isles, DITV Sports.
The Iowa field hockey team hopped back into the win column yesterday, defeating 15th-ranked Rutgers on the road. It started out rough for the Hawkeyes as they trailed by 2 by the end of the first quarter, but Iowa bounced back to tie things up at 3 apiece, sending the match into overtime. Senior Millie Short called game with her 4th goal of the season, securing a 4-3 win for the Hawks. For the first time since 2021, Iowa volleyball played in Carver Hawkeye Arena this weekend against USC and UCLA. The Hawks first took on the 25th-ranked Trojans. It was an extremely back-and-forth game with 2 extended sets, but USC would eventually prevail 3-1. Things wouldn't get any easier as Iowa got swept in 3 sets by the 23rd-ranked UCLA Bruins. Friday wasn't just the first look at Iowa volleyball in Carver in 4 years, but also featured a lot of fans' first look at the men's and women's basketball teams heading into their season. Each Hawkeye basketball team made their way to the outdoor basketball courts outside Burge Residence Hall. The hour-long event featured introductions to players and coaches, player competitions, and brought in many families climbing on ledges just to catch a glimpse of the Hawks. This marks Iowa's unofficial start to the season, with the women's team starting November 3rd and the men starting their season November 4th. The Iowa soccer team continued their stretch out west, taking on the USC Trojans last night. After following an upset to UCLA last week, Iowa got out to a slow start in their bounce-back game. The Hawks trailed 2-0 going into halftime, but found a way to fire in 2 goals in the second half as Iowa avoided the upset in a 2-2 tie. With so much action over the weekend, it's now time for my favorite part of every Monday morning show. It's time for our top 5 plays of the weekend. Coming in at number 5, got Iowa volleyball extended second set, looking just one more point to win the set. It's Carmel Vares who lays down the hammer. Coming in at number 4 in Piscataway, New Jersey, overtime, Millie Short snipes it bottom right and scores, winning the game 4-3, stealing it from the 15th-ranked Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Coming in at number 3, Ethan Grunkelmeyer will drop back to pass, launches a deep ball, and it's out of bounds. Let's take a look at that one more time, guys. Actually, Deshaun Lee, as you can see, drags his right toe. You can see the turf pellets popping up there. It's a huge interception for the Hawkeyes. Coming in at number 2, Hawkeye hoops from downtown, Jack Devlin, the team manager, from half court. A half court heave gets the crowd fired up in number 1. Mark Gronowski slips a couple arm tackles late in the 4th quarter, and mama, there goes that man, Mark Gronowski. He's loose. He eventually gets caught up, cannot unhitch the trailer, unfortunately. 67-yard rush to set the Hawkeyes for the game-winning score. That was looking at our top 5 plays of the weekend, guys. Tell me about that.
Jack Devlin.
Jack Devlin.
I mean, that gives me a ton of
Fire
energy.
me up. The team manager. Nothing better than that. Incredible.
So much energy, and let's take a look back outside with Avery at how the constellations affect our energy.
The stars are aligning this week for some signs. Some people think constellations can affect daily life. The sun is closest to the Aquarius constellation, and it may give you an extra energy boost. Take a trip, be brave, and speak up because this only happens once a year. For my Taurus friends, the sun is farthest from your constellation. You will be lacking energy, so make sure to get some extra sleep this week. I am a Virgo, so I may be opinionated as my house of communication is in Mars. I hope the stars align for the DITV staff this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
And today is a very special day for the math lovers in our world.
Why is that, Jake?
Well, guys, today is World Statistics Day, and boy, do I have some DITV stats for you. Here in the studio, we have 36% men and 64% women. Of them all, 58% are news, 21% are in sports, and 21% are technical positions. And we have a wide range of ages with 33% seniors, 28% juniors, 36% sophomores, and shout out to our singular freshman Kate, who makes up the last 3% of that group. And thank you for joining us online or listening on KRUI 89.7 FM.
We are here live from Iowa City every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. and online anytime at dailyiowan.com.
For all of us here, thank you for watching.
We'll see you again on Wednesday morning right here on DITV.